guys, Tim, Big Dog Forge. Today we're going to do some pattern welded Damascus type steel. Going to use some of the Sawmill blades, and I got some 1095 I went down and got, just so that I made sure I had some 1095 and it was correct stuff. And we're going to see what happens, see if the stuff gets a pattern. So stick with me, it should be interesting. See how it goes. Thanks.
Alright guys, on the left is 1095. We got 5 pieces of that, and on the right are the Sawmill blades. We have 4 stacks, 4 in each stack, total of 16. We took 2 of each type of our Sawmill blade and put them together in stacks to come up with the 16 pieces we needed. So 4 of those stacked together equal about the same thickness of 1 piece of 1095. Let's see what kind of contrast we get out of this thing. Alright, let's get it welded up. Alright, I'm just going to MIG weld this thing in a few spots across. Now there's 1095 on the outside, which is the solid thicker metal to keep the blades from warping out on me. They did that last time I did this on a smaller billet. That was a suggestion by one of the comments in the video we did, where we were sort of testing this material to try to figure out what it was. And this is the biggest billet that I've ever forge welded together in a pattern welded sense. So we're going to see how this goes. Get her up to cherry red. Get her fluxed up there. Lots of flux. You know, little's good, more is better, right? Alright, let's get it into the forge. A little anxious about this. We got a little power hammer all revved up. We're going to see how this thing goes. And nice yellow heat in there. I was a little concerned about that piece of 1095 on top, but turns out it was just a piece of scale where it was hanging over slightly, a little further than the rest of the material. So I brought this thing down to a 1.5 inch square. It took about half a dozen heats to get it there. And I used a little kiss block that I made to make sure it was nice and square. We're going to take this thing over and put it in the vise, and we're going to put a twist on it. Now this thing's 1.5 inches square. I'll have to get it getting hot. And my biggest wrench only has a single handle on it, so we're going to see how this goes. And you can obviously tell it's not going great. Just wanting to wiggle around. I've only got one side on that twisting wrench, so I'm pulling the bench over and all sorts of stuff. So I found a piece of pipe and I welded it onto the other end of that wrench, and get this thing clamped in here. This should go a little easier. And even at high temperature, that thing is a little bit tough to move. That's a lot of material there. Let me get out of the way so you can see what's going on. There we go. We got a full twist on it. So we'll see how this adds to the pattern. So it took a while to knock those twists out of that thing. Those ridges are pretty high and the valleys are pretty low in there. But I knew I was going to have to take it down to 1.25 inches or so. But it was going to get too long for the forge to reach all the way inside. So my plan was to take it down square until it got too long for the forge. Let me cut it in half. I didn't want to do this on the hot cut. And it's a little bit long, and the handle was a little bit flexible. So it took a couple of heats, but we got through it. I welded a handle on each one and went for it. And we're going to take these things down to about 3/4 inch thick and 1.25 inches wide. So I built myself another kiss block at 1.25 inches. Dress those things up. And that took a few heats as well. It a lot of material to move. But it went really well. I didn't find any cracks or fissures or delaminations anywhere along the way. So that was encouraging. So we're going to cut these in half. I'm double checking my dimensions there, make sure I'm in the middle. Cut them with a band saw, a little easier than hot cutting them. Clean up our welding mating surfaces that we want to put together. And left one of the handles on this one. It's going to be located towards the center. And as I was grinding these things, I noticed that there weren't any fissures or cracks, anything split, no deep pits. I was really surprised, actually. So this is our bar. We cut it with a hot cut there and the bandsaw there and there. And we're going to turn these guys end for end. And we're going to stack them up. So those twists with these stacks should be pretty interesting. Should be better than what I did last time anyway. Alright, we got all welded up into a big brick again. And we start over. Off to the forge. Alrighty, into the forge she goes. I didn't show flux in it this time. I wanted to keep the video a little shorter. So, off to the power hammer, and this is our initial weld on that thing. And it seemed to go pretty well. There's a full view of the power hammer. You guys hardly ever get to see that. So I thought I'd throw that in there, doing its thing. Alright, so we worked this thing down to about inch thick, about 2 inches wide. I think it ended up being 10 inches long, something like that. By the time I cut the ends off, it was about 8 inches long, inch thick, 2 inches wide. I was really surprised it was easier getting to this point than I thought it was going to be. I never ended up with any delaminations. We'll see what happens when I make something out of it, but there you go. Alright, so we cut the ends off and we ground down one face and one edge and one end. We're going to get this thing into some ferric chloride and see how it acts, see if we get any contrast out of it. So this ferric chloride's been sitting in the shop, so it's cold and it's full strength. So I really don't know how it's going to react with this. We're just going to do. So we're going to leave it in there for only about 2-3 minutes at the most. And we're going to get this thing rinsed off. You see a little bit there. And rinse it off and then get it into the neutralizer. See what she looks like. There we go. And the first thing you're going to notice is the weld spots that are on there. But it did come out with some pattern in it. Looks promising anyway. I'm going to take it over and grind those welds off a little further and re-etch it, but the end pattern looks promising. Alright guys, we're going to dry this thing off, grind it, re-etch it, and we'll give you a little closer look here in a minute. Alrighty.
Hey guys, so seemed to go pretty well. I don't know. Went back to re-etch it, and you tell me. This is what I got. Come on, focus. And you can see there's light areas, there's dark areas, but you're going to notice that the dark areas are the ones that have the sawmill blades in them. And you can see the laminations of the sawmill blades in there. And it's the other end. But anyway, I'm not really sure what to think. It definitely has a pattern. Came out okay, but the shiny areas seem to be the 1095. So I don't know. You guys tell me. One of you knife makers out there. Anyway, that's going to about do it. If any of you guys want to try some of this stuff, let me know. I'll box a little bit of it up and send it to you and see if maybe you can do something with it. Let me know what you think about this thing. And I think I'm going to make a knife out of part of it and grind it and all that stuff, see how it comes out that way. But I think that's going to about do it. So anyway, like, share, subscribe, and be safe. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.